Hi guys, this is a video I'm making about my experience with adrenal fatigue, tiredness, and just doing ordinary tasks seems really challenging. In fact, I get really annoyed if somebody throws a new task at me I wasn't expecting because it is just challenging to even process and get ready to do. And I'm frustrated because they have no idea how hard it is for me to do. Fogginess, yeah, it's like hard to be in the moment sometimes. It's hard to like even think and look at things clearly. I make small mistakes that are obvious, and with that, I also have a short-term memory lapse. I tend to forget, like if I lock the door a minute ago, I have to go check it again and again and again. Tight chest, just general sense of like my chest is caving in and it's kind of like tingly and feel comfortable. And I used to think, oh man, I have cardiovascular problems, but I got that checked out and I seem to be pretty healthy cardiovascularly. And generally a sense of just knowing that your body knows how to recover should give you a sense of peace that will help the recovery too. Just keep that in mind. Organ achiness. So I don't know, especially what I think is my adrenal gland, and been told there's no nerves in that area, but it's right in that spot. Maybe it's the kidney. I've never had kidney problems, but it's right above the kidney in my lower back, especially on the left side, that it just gets sore. It gets really sore, and sometimes I have a black roller here, and I'll roll up my back on that thing. I also have what I feel is kind of like an overreactive sympathetic nervous system, and especially on the left side of my body, and I feel it most concentrated in my left foot. I don't know why that is, but I just notice it at night, especially before I go to bed when I'm trying to calm down. Just like it's buzzing, my left foot is buzzing, and whole left side of my body is kind of, it's like wired. It's like someone took a car battery and wired it up through my body, through the left side. It's on the right side too, but more pronounced on the left. But organ achiness, I also get, if I don't get sleep, it's like all my organs start to to function really poorly. I belch all day long. I belch probably 50 times a day if I don't sleep. So it indicates probably a problem with my digestion, but it's only when I don't sleep well. And I get pain kind of in my liver. I never drank, never had liver issues. I had my thyroid, so sometimes I feel like it just kind of like goes numb. It feels swollen. It doesn't look swollen, but it feels like it. And when it gets like that, I have difficulty like breathing and swallowing. She beat panic attacks, by the way. That was another symptom. I'll explain how I did that. Yeah, it's really uncomfortable feeling. A dizzy, lightheadedness. This happens especially if I get in a special situation, and it's like my cortisol or epinephrine. I like research some of these hormones. Like something gets too elevated, and my head just starts buzzing, and I get dizzy, and I literally have to hold on to something when I'm standing just because I feel so wobbly and weak. And so I try to prepare for situations as much as I can to avoid that stress. Like it's like a stimulation of like the HPA axis or something possibly in the brain, which also affects the adrenal glands. It's like it shoots off adrenaline, and all that combined just like makes me really, really unsteady. And it's kind of scary sometimes in situations. I have to excuse myself from social situations, especially where it may be noticeable that I'm having reactions. And sometimes I'll do tics. I'll move my body in different ways just because I'm so uncomfortable, and I feel like I have to keep moving so I can keep focusing and keep from passing out, basically. So it really sucks. But another symptom is PVCs. So it's like it's when you're at the lower chamber, your heart it jumps ahead of the heartbeat, and kind of get that where you can't breathe for a second. So I get those, especially probably more at night when I'm kind of trying to get ready for bed and my system's trying to calm down. And again, they used to scare me, but I've realized that I lived through them, and it's a normal part of suffering with adrenal fatigue. Panic anxiety. So this is something that I've actually beaten the last few years, of panic and anxiety. I used to have panic attacks, really bad ones where I'd have to leave a room if anybody was in it because it was very noticeable, and I felt like I felt like my system was on fire and I was either going to blow up or just pass out and die. And especially scary when you're driving, and I had to pull over and get picked up a few times because I couldn't even make it home. But I actually beat the panic disorder. I still have all the fatigue and other symptoms I talked about, but I beat the panic disorder, and I did this by primarily magnesium. So you may already be taking the supplement. I actually take it twice a day. I have like a magnesium powder. It's called Calm. I take sometimes in the afternoon. And then at night, I have a liquid magnesium, which is more absorbable. At night, I also take Epsom salt baths, and I believe that has some magnesium. That's really helped for getting my nerves under control. Another reason I believe I was having panic disorders is because early on in the adrenal fatigue. Well, in any case, panic is associated with it. I've been able to do meditation to beat the panic, but when I had the panic early on, I actually went to the doctor and they prescribed, well, what are they going to prescribe? They prescribed Xanax or whatever substitute they have, Lazopram or whatever. I was on both of those for a while. And I think realizing the doctor wasn't fulfill any more prescriptions. By the way, those drugs actually made my adrenal fatigue worse. I think antidepressants can make adrenal fatigue worse. But when I was on those drugs, getting off them was incredibly difficult, and then the panic was just out of control. So when I finally realized, when I was able to separate the anxiety from the adrenal fatigue from the anxiety from medications and withdrawal, that was a big turning point in my recovery. Nausea, dulled senses. I know this especially when I do get sleep on the weekend. I can actually, when I sleep, I can actually smell things, and I feel awake. I feel alive. I can feel the wind on my skin when I'm have the adrenal fatigue. And I know I keep talking about sleep. I generally have the adrenal fatigue all the time. It's just a degree of severity, which depends on the sleep. The sleep is the most important factor, but don't let sleep become your obsession. There are ways to get by without sleep, but in any case, I recommend that you give up your extra activities in order to get more sleep if it's possible. Give up your ambition. Life is short. God just wants you to be healthy. And I'll reference God here just because I think most people can be open to the idea that there's at least a higher power that is responsible for bringing us into the world and making all this universe so finely tuned together. But yeah, dulled senses. Disconnected from the body. Why goes with the dullness? I just kind of feel like I'm just like floating. I just like floating piece of rotten wood. I just don't feel good. I don't feel really connected to my body. Like I can do physical activity. The whole point though is to let you know the variety of symptoms that you can experience. Your experience may be quite different. But I also want to convey the point that I've been through a lot of really horrible symptoms. These were all very severe. I've been to the ER room probably 5 times, and every time they've basically just, I think one time they said I had high cortisol or something, but basically my blood work came back normal. I don't have the continuously high cortisol disease. In fact, with adrenal fatigue, your cortisol is too low, unless you're in the earlier stages. But generally, it's always, I've done blood tests. It's been hard to diagnose what my true situation is, and I kind of gave up after a while. But generally, I know that it's a hormonal imbalance, and it's a nervous system that's generally overreactive. So that's what I've been able to glean from 7-8 years I've experienced this. Start to dim the lights around 7 p.m. or so. Be in a dark room. Have a candle. I always try to be in a dark room after 7:30 or so. Okay. Drives my wife crazy and my kids crazy because they're like, why you have all the lights off? But it's a good habit to form. Social interactions, sometimes I get more anxious in social situations. If you're the same way, just try to plan for as much as you can. Don't be afraid to excuse yourself if you're uncomfortable in a conversation. Just go to the bathroom or whatever. I don't know, it's one of these kind of, it'll improve as you get better. But know that everybody is just like you, they're having their own issues, so don't be embarrassed that you have this issue. Another one, too much sex. I found that if I was lucky enough to do that twice a day, that was too much for my body. I wouldn't be able to get to sleep that night. I'd sleep maybe 2 hours at most. I don't know what it is, but it just misbalances the hormones. I'd just be very anxious at night, and I couldn't get to sleep, and then I'd ruin my whole next day. Once a day is okay for me, unless I haven't had sleep, then I can't do it at all. But yeah, it's something maybe to monitor. You might be different. So things that have helped me. I talked about a few of these. Magnesium, just big for reducing panic. Gonna take it twice a day. Once in powder form, once in liquid. Doesn't really matter how you take it. Just try to find the best, most pure version of it, so that it actually works. Vitamin C helps with adrenal recovery. So I take a lot of frozen fruit. If you want, you can also take vitamin C supplements. Just, I don't know what to prescribe, but that probably couldn't hurt. Don't overdo it. I'm not a doctor. Adaptogens. I used to take adaptogens, which are different types of herbs like Ashwaganda for adrenal fatigue. I still take those sometimes. I didn't notice a big difference for me personally. I don't know why, but they're not as important as vitamin C for me and magnesium. But I do take them fairly regularly, and it's helped a little bit. I think it includes like licorice root or something too. Let's see what else we got here. Heavy meats and soups I talked about. Prayer. A comfortable bed. This has been a problem for me actually more recently. I have a father-in-law in town, and I switched beds to accommodate him in a different room, and the new bed I'm on is very uncomfortable. And I keep waking up every hour during the night to readjust my position in the bed. So now I got an extra mattress to put over that, which makes it a lot softer, and I'm looking forward to using that. I think it's going to make a difference. Deep breathing. So this helped me a lot. Okay, it's we've all been told how to do deep breathing, but have you really done it is the question. So it helps to be, first of all, in a really relaxed state. But when you take your breath, I like to breathe all the way in, plus just a little bit more. It's almost like you're forcing in a little bit more of air, so you get that full inhale into the lungs and the abdomen or whatever. And then same when you exhale. You exhale just in a relaxed state, but push out a little bit more when you exhale. And that little extra push, you'll feel like this slight sense of relaxation when you do that. Try it. And just do it several times while you're meditating. They really help you put you into a meditative calm state, and hopefully help you get to sleep easier. So I also do deep breathing during the night. I have stuffy nose all night. It's another symptom of my adrenal fatigue, is kind of congested nasal passageways or whatever. So in the middle of the night, I have to do some deep breathing like that because I'm not getting enough oxygen. So just be wary of that in the middle of the night. Sometimes people wake up around 2 because they get low blood sugar. It's another symptom. I basically can't go to sleep till 2, so I finally get balanced at that point. But yeah, when you're in the middle of the night, it helps to have some kind of protein snack or berry, but also or fruit or berry. But honey is good too. But I want to point out also that it could be that you're not getting enough oxygen to your body. So take a few deep breaths too, right before you go back to sleep. Be patient, love yourself. Back roll I talked about. I try to do that a couple times a day. It's just really helpful for also for back pain in general. It's just good for your health, but helps relieve some of the tension in my back and the achiness in my adrenal, which I feel like helps recovery. So Water. I love it being water. It's so good for the nervous system. I love water parks. Look, I'm at the river right now. I like to be close to water. I don't know if it's because I'm a Pisces or what. I used to be a fish, but I like to be in the pool or in the bathtub. Magnesium baths are awesome. It really just helps with the nervous system, and again, I think it helps balance the hormones. So just be in water if you can. I don't know. Love yourself, guys. Those are the main tips I have to give you. Again, I'm not a doctor. If it's helpful, I'm very happy. I'm very happy I could help. I hope that I can come back in a couple of years and tell you I'm fully recovered and how I did that. But just know, I've been dealing with this for over 7 years. It's super challenging because there's so many stresses in your life. You can't get rid of them all. You can only try to ameliorate your situation through deleting the ones that aren't really important, that don't really add value to your life. Give up ambition if you need to. Love yourself. You're a really valuable person, guys. Seriously.